Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Happy Friday. It's the Pleb Underground, the signal without the slop. I'm your host, Phil. Let's take a look at some of the stories we are going to be talking about today. Yes, French Hodl. Good morning. Good morning, French Hodl. Good morning, Ambalta. Free RS guides. Turbo. That's right, guys. So yeah, Bitcoin's definitely dead. We're doing the BART thing. We did the BART going down and we did the BART going up, and it's maybe we should just trade this, right? Maybe we should. No, I'm kidding. We should not trade this. Every single time I've traded, I've lived to regret trading. So it's okay. The universe lets me know the things that I will fail at, and I should pay attention. Anyways, let's take a look. That's right, guys. We got some solid freaking hopium today. Michael Burry, the guy who not only called, but he put his money where his mouth was for the mortgage crisis. And he was absolutely right about it. And guess what? Guess what he proclaimed? He proclaimed that Bitcoin isn't worth anything. So now I know that we're on the right track. We're going to take a look at some of that. Yeah, we've also got some more hopium. Metcalfe's law, how that relates to Bitcoin. Some metrics about all the off the books Bitcoin that goes on, right? Because a lot of people seem to think that all there is, or I shouldn't say a lot of people, but some people seem to believe that all there is spot trading. But guess what? There's a whole bunch of stuff that's happening off the books. We're going to take a look at that. CFTC making moves. What the hell is Tether up to? Anyways, Corey Clipston, I told you guys about this yesterday. He shared this. He's been tracking this very interesting story about Tether's maneuvers, right? And you guys have heard me say this 1,000 times, right? Tether is just playing this game the best. But it doesn't mean that they're not sketchy. It doesn't mean that they're not doing what it takes to be at the top of the pile and making sure that they're the ones dishing out the rules, right? And that they are not subject to the rules. We're going to take a look at what's happening with Tether. For the fails, we've got some funny stuff. Lambo branded hardware wallets. Ew. And yeah, guys, disappointingly, shitcoining is not dead. We're going to take a look at why. And we've got some solid, I don't know if this is a troll, but the Netherlands are essentially heating Tulip farms, Bitcoin mining. We're going to take a look at that. I feel like it's a troll, but it actually is real. So you know the deal. We're going to dive into all that good stuff. Before we do, give a shout out to the Pleb Underground sponsor, Archimedes Emporium. And we're going to be right back. Here we go. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. That's right. Michael Burry, who recently just put a short on NVIDIA and Palantir. So yeah, he's got some comments about Bitcoin. We're going to hear what he has to say. And guys, I think I fixed the audio issue, okay? I think I figured it out. I found this platform. You're going to let me know. Yeah, here we go.
Institutional pessimism. Does it lead you to, like, I don't know, Bitcoin or gold or one of these refuges that people...
I think that Bitcoin at 100,000 is the most ridiculous thing. That same people are sitting on TV talking about Bitcoin. There's casually, it's 100,000. It's down. Now it's 98,000. It's not worth anything. Everybody's accepted it. It's a tulip bulb of our time. It's worse than a tulip bulb because this has enabled so much criminal activity to go deep under.
So really Michael Burry of all the people is going to talk about the criminal activity in Bitcoin and just completely ignore that the banking rails have facilitated the majority of all money laundering and criminal activity throughout history. Really? This is where we're going? Like, yeah, you can't take these people seriously. It's fucking hilarious. We're all broken clocks, guys. Even this guy's a freaking broken clock. It doesn't matter that he made hundreds of millions of dollars. He's a freaking broken clock.
So where do you hide with your money? Do you have gold?
I've had gold since 2005.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So he, again, right, he sees it as a hedge against the world falling apart, which is pretty ironic. It's kind of funny, right? Because you'd think that somebody who took the time to do so much deep research into what was happening in the credit markets, in the mortgage markets, you'd think that he would put that same effort towards Bitcoin, right? Even if you're going to dismiss it, it's no problem, right? Like I couldn't care less if you did all the research and you dismiss Bitcoin because it's just not for you or whatever the hell it is. But this, to me, I love how Bitcoin exposes people's egos. It's fantastic. It's fantastic because, like, look, he's just another person. He can't make Bitcoin about him. So this is how he can make Bitcoin about him. You know, it's a tulip bubble. You know, like this bullshit. Anyways, yeah, he's down bad. He's down bad. He's wrong. And you know what? It's okay. Time will tell. Okay. So the Metcalfe's law, Hopium, guys. This is what we're looking for. Bitcoin briefly dipped below its Metcalfe's law model network value for the first time in nearly 2 years. Why do I care? Should I care about this? Okay. So first of all, Metcalfe's law, right? Just to make it simple, right? This was designed for telecom networks back in the 80s. And essentially what it is the more connections that you have, the exponentially more utility and worth the network has, right? That's the TLDR for that. But in context of Bitcoin, right? Like, what does this mean for Bitcoin? So dips below Metcalfe's line were actually short-lived. And throughout Bitcoin's history, it's happened in 2014, 2015, 2018, 2019, and 2022. So we're going to pump? Is that what we're getting? We're going to pump? I don't know. It really does look like it's setting up to just do this massive line. I know. It's all just Hopium. But it's kind of swaying in that direction, right? Yeah, that is absolutely right, French Hodl. We're going back to the Michael Burry conversation. He did close his hedge fund recently and started his blog so that he can crap on stuff without any legal implications. So, yeah. More Hopium. Okay, so here we go. Got this one here out of Tales from the Crypt, TFTC. I don't think they call themselves Tales from the Crypt anymore due to copyrights and stuff like that, because Tales from the Crypt was a TV show. Anyways, 3 states officially created strategic Bitcoin reserves in 2025. Yes, that is indeed correct. Okay, 3 states did create it. However, how many of them actually started to make purchases? In all fairness, and I'm not bashing this, I'm just saying this is what it is. Only Texas. And Texas hasn't even purchased actual Bitcoin. They're purchasing shares of the ETF, which I get it. The ETF must comply and purchase the Bitcoin in kind. Fine. But I'm just saying it's not self-custody Bitcoin, guys. It is simply just exposure to NGU. And I get it. That makes people happy, but it's just, they're not actually hodling Bitcoin. They're just buying shares. I know it's not fun. The truth isn't fun. We just want to hear the rosy picture by people that make us feel good. Sorry. Too bad. So this interesting one from TXMC again. I like it because he's very contrarian. And I appreciate that, right? Keeps my Hopium in check. One of the least talked about wrinkles in Bitcoin is the volume of trade that occurs away from exchange order books managed by off-chain settlement networks like Copper and Fireblocks. In a way similar to OTC, this is another mechanism for entities to swap large volumes, with the total appearing in retail data and without direct price impact to order books. That's right, guys. We don't know what we don't know, right? And he's saying it's vastly underappreciated. And again, you got to take this at face value, but this is essentially showing, right, from one of these particular off-chain book ordering systems, we're seeing the volume go up. Interesting. You know, I know that sometimes he's a contrarian, but I do think that he is a Bitcoin bull. I mean, I speak to him, in spaces and stuff like that, and we follow each other. And in my eyes, you know, I see him. I do see him as an optimist. However, he is a trader, so you know, you got to take that. You got to take that at face value as well. Okay. All right, we got some more comments here from a post from Joe Carlasari, who is also of the persuasion that 4-year cycle is over. The 4-year cycle bros are wrong. Look, my Hopium tells me whichever one makes NGU go up the highest, right? Like that's what my Hopium tells me. It's like, okay, so if the 4-year cycle is still intact, then you know, when we go to the moon, fantastic. If it's not intact and we go to the moon, fantastic. I don't care, right? It's that meme where I'm standing in the middle of the road. There's the fork and both sides are paradise. It just depends on which one I go to. So here we go. Only times Bitcoin was 3.5 standard deviations below the 200-day moving average. November in 2018, that was right before we made a new all-time high. March 2020, right before we ripped from like 3.5K, 4K, all the way right back up over 20. And here we are, November, which did not really do Moonvember. So, yeah, the first two were generational buying opportunities. This time is different, cycle bros. Okay. It's poking us with the stick. Guys. What do you think? Is it different this time? Obviously, I hope it's different. I've been saying this over and over again, right? It's like, that's why it's like, it's just about recognizing your own Hopium. Okay. Speaking of Hopium, the CFTC, right? Talk about more liquidity. Who knows? Maybe this off the books number starts to change because of this, you know, but the CFTC approved spot Bitcoin and crypto trading on US regulated futures exchanges. That's right, guys. More liquidity, more participants. Some people would argue Bitcoin's a stable coin at this point. I mean, considering last year at this time, we were at about the same price. We were about like 93 or 94K. So we did this whole entire year and we're right back at the same price. So all these people who talk to you about Bitcoin's volatility, yeah, we went up to 126K. But 1 year later, we're right here. If you're holding for the long term, what does all the noise in between matter? It doesn't. Doesn't make a difference. The noise in between. Nobody cares. Yeah, exactly, French hodl. And solid takes, man. Generational buying opportunities is basically every day. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, that's right. Hey, listen, you draw lines on charts, man. It's big business, okay? I love drawing lines on charts. I think it's so fun. It's like, to somebody else, this is going to mean something, right? I mean, to me, it's sometimes I'll draw a line. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I'm like, hey, I guess that's bullish. All right, let's take a look at the Tether stuff here. Let's take a look at some of the Tether weirdness. Let me just clear the board, get it ready, because this is a bit of a rabbit hole. I'm not gonna lie. Tether stuff is a bit of a rabbit hole, and since we are a show that is not paid by Tether, well, we can say whatever the hell we want about it. And they can just cry harder. So, here we go. Let's dive into it. The tweet from Corey Swan, right? Corey Clipston, actually, was I believe he's the CEO of Swan, right? November 10th, 2025 filing reveals Tether and Ubit's directors and officers quietly acquired effective control of VCI Global, ticker VCIG. Through a private placement paid entirely in Ubit tokens and without any related party disclosures, Tether is a lead investor in Ubit alongside CMCC Global and Solana founder Ayakovenko. Well, at least that's his Twitter, but or I think it's Alex Kovenko. Anyways, the point I want to go back to though here, which is really strange because obviously I had to do some digging into this. Ubit is actually a stable coin that is issued by VCI Global. So this is really weird. So it's like they created this token and they're buying this token for their treasury. And Tether is also taking a stake in this in order to push the anyways, it's a strange scenario. We're not done, obviously. We got more to this whole story. It's very weird. So the recipients of the new shares and pre-funded warrants in VCIG, Tether Investments Limited, 39%. Song Yanyun, UBIT director, 15%. Pay Capital, UBIT director Song is also the director. Omer Adar, UBIT director, and Aaron Miller, UBIT COO. This is looking really sketch, like completely. Seems like I mean, is this a Ponzi? Is this a Ponzi? Is this all just like wash trading and wash purchasing? This is really strange stuff. What's going on over there? Anyways, the deal was paid entirely in OOB tokens. And remember, right, this VCI Global company is the one that actually issues this token. So I don't get it. They paid themselves in the token? Anyways, VCIG accepted 50 million worth of tokens at a price set by the same people receiving the equity. No cash, no banker, no valuation check, no independent process. The structure lets an effective change of control happen without triggering a 13D. And in fact, if you go take a look at the financial news for VCIG, you don't see anything about this. Anything about this at all, with the exception of the 50 the investment, right? The $50 million accepted of tokens. That's it. But all the rest of this, like all of this is just completely unknown. It doesn't show up in any of their paperwork. Anyways, the 6K doesn't disclose relationships between the purchasers and UBIT or Tether, true, and a possible material breach of SEC Rule 12B20. Okay, I mean, that's I really don't know about, so I'm not going to pretend. Oh. Sorry, guys. Next one. Public company has effectively been taken over by an offshore crypto company, Tether, and the executives of its payments partner by using a token swap designed to avoid public scrutiny. And again, they're the ones actually, VCIG is part owner of this. So they partially own this token, and then they issue this token, and then they took payment in this token. Anyways, this is not how control of a U.S. listed company is supposed to change hands. Tether's acquisition of majority stakes of American listed companies through obscured ownership structures is an ongoing pattern, with the most recent transaction being the Northern Data, the Rumble deal. That's right. Tether quietly taking ownership in these different companies and essentially paying them with free money, money that they issue. It's pretty crazy. It's actually insane what we're seeing over there. And something, I mean, look, not that this has anything to do with the company, but I got to tell you, rarely have I ever gone to go look at a publicly traded company, and this is what I get for, this is what I end up seeing when I go to check the VCIG website. Beware of CEO impersonation fraud. I mean, this is, and I know, look, it has nothing to do with it, but this is all, to me, is all just little weird red flags. And then I wanted to show you guys this again. I know the price chart doesn't really matter, but what does matter to me is what management chooses to do with their shareholders, right? Because you can tell if management actually cares about providing value, creating value, enriching their shareholders who have risked their money and their time in their business. Granted, not as much as the people internally, but when businesses take on decisions that kick the shareholders in the nuts over and over again, you really got to start to wonder, right? Like, is this really just a giant scam? So, anyways, so yesterday you could see this little. Right, this candle. This was yesterday. This was because of the news that came out about them. Okay, about the stake that's happening here. Now we're just going to keep zooming out. You're going to notice a pattern. You may have seen me show this pattern before. Oh, look at that. Well, it's getting messier and messier. What's happening? What is happening? All right, let's just zoom all the way out. Right. Let's just zoom all the way out. Here you go. There's, right? Take out all the noise, and what do you have? A pump and dump, and but wait. Look at the reverse share splits that they did. Talk about kicking your shareholders when they're down. 1 for 49 reverse split. For every 49 shares you had, they gave you 1, and then it went down. Then they did a 1 for 20. So for every 20 shares that you had at that point, they gave you 1. And then the final kick. The final kick. 1 for 30. For every 30 shares, if you happen to have 30 shares left at the end of this giant circus, you will now have 1 share. Oh God, these companies, this is terrible. Yeah, exactly, Rourke. If these companies cared about their companies in the first place, they wouldn't be called zombies. And that's, I can't disagree with that, right? Because that's exactly what they are, you know? Oh, damn. I'm sorry. I don't want YouTube doxing you. That's not fair. That's not fair. Doxing is bad. Yeah. So look, this whole thing with Tether again, Corey, I really appreciate you giving me the links to that. I haven't been following that story as closely as I should, and that is just some weird stuff. That is weird stuff what Tether's doing. And again, you know, they are playing this game the best. Doesn't mean they're not doing ultra shady stuff. But they're working with the right people. They're making the right moves, and they're offshore. So are they even touchable? Right? Because they're, if I'm not mistaken, they're headquartered in El Salvador, or they're moving their headquarters to El Salvador. Yeah. All right, guys. So in terms of OPSEC, right? When you're thinking OPSEC and you're saying to yourself, I don't want people to necessarily know that I have Bitcoin. What's one of the things that you wouldn't do? Well, I'll tell you this. One of the things I wouldn't do, okay, is I wouldn't get a Lambo branded hardware wallet. Definitely wouldn't do that. But as you can imagine, nothing is going to stop any of these businesses from attempting to capitalize. You might argue that maybe Lamborghini's having a hard time selling their cars these days. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. But maybe that's what's happening, and that's why they need a gimmick to remind people, right, that they believe are up and coming wealthy people that, hey, remember us? We're a status symbol. You know, we're a status symbol. So, you know, if you're going to have a hardware wallet, wouldn't you want to have the Lamborghini of signing devices? Anyways, if you think this is a bad idea, you're not alone. I just want to remind everybody, the company that brought the Lambo hardware wallet, which we are going to take a look at, is the same company that thought it was a good idea to do a collaboration with somebody and store your hardware wallet, your signing device, in a pocket, on a hat, on your head. Those aren't smart things. Smart things at all. Anyways, let's take a look at this hardware wallet. It's just too loud. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, it's okay. We don't need the sound for that. But there you go. Your Lambo hardware wallet, brought to you by Ledger. I consider this a fail. Yep, they are definitely gonna, I'll just say it straight up. The only people they're gonna get to buy that piece of crap are the shitcoiners. Yeah, exactly, right? It's like, I don't wear BTC shirts anymore. I remember in like 2018, right? When I first came to the space, I was all fascinated by that. And I'm like, yeah, I want to wear a Bitcoin shirt. I want to wear this. And it didn't take me very long to figure out how stupid that was. And yeah, does it actually? Does your wallet automatically buy? I hope not. Right? Because let's face it, they are definitely going to make purchasing that wallet a humiliation ritual, right? Kind of like the same way, and people are going to get mad, kind of like the same way that Tesla made the Cybertruck, right? Like, let's be honest, it's really ugly, and they're getting people to pay for that ugly thing. And that's fine. That's totally fine, right? But to me, I see it as a humiliation ritual. It's like, let's just see if we can get these rich people to buy ugly things. And it works. But this is the same type of thing, right? Essentially, they want to play on your ego. And most importantly, they want to play on society's kind of game that we do where people recognize another human's ability to waste resources, right? If you can waste resources, that means that you have many resources. And part of that is getting this overpriced piece of crap hardware wallet from Ledger. Anyways, yeah, I do consider that a fail. And I will obviously not be wasting any of my precious sats on a Lambo branded. You know, it's interesting because they only talked about Bitcoin in this ad, which makes me wonder, did they maybe approach CoinKite and like NVK told them to go pound sand? Could that be what happened? Right? Like one of these Lambo reps approached him and he was like, I don't fucking think so. Who knows? Maybe that's what happened. Anyways. Okay. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately, if you think that shitcoin and shitcoining is dead, right? Yesterday, we watched that horrible video about how Binance is essentially trying to indoctrinate children into becoming shitcoiners in the forever casino. Well, they may have a leg to stand on, because at the most recent blockchain conference in Dubai, this is the line to meet CZ.
See here, queue. Everyone want to meet CG.
If you think for a second that the get rich quick crowd, right, that's always here in every cycle is somehow not going to be here all of a sudden, no. Okay, they're here and they're going to continue to want this. And believe it or not, Bitcoin is the asset that makes all of these other things possibly credible. And when I say possibly, it's because they don't have any credibility. But because Bitcoin exists, every single shitcoin throughout history can point to it and say what Bitcoin did. It's possible. I could see that. I could see the crypto gulag sponsored by Chili's. Then everybody's stuck eating those like little mini burgers. And the chicken fajitas over there. Who's got the fajitas? Those actually aren't too bad at Chili's. Okay. So the Netherlands, guys, I look, it says that this is legitimate, but I still think that this is a troll, right? This Tulip farm that's using Bitcoin miners. But I think it's still good. Blood. Solar panels.
All the energy we use for the Bitcoin mining is with solar energy, and we save on the gas use. So, well, in a sense, we think we are going to save a lot of gas by using this solution for heating our greenhouse.
Yeah, so Bitcoin miners, they produce a lot of heat. So you have a delta of approximately 20 degrees Celsius between the temperature that goes into the miner and that comes out of the miner. And that's because the processors in this computer are constantly trying to guess a random number, and that produces some heat.
All right. Yeah, that makes me happy. I'm a happy camper with that kind of stuff. To me, this is the real world adoption, right? It's like we don't even know what's really possible with Bitcoin. We have no idea really the implications of Bitcoin mining, how this is truly going to affect power grids in the future, how this is actually going to affect exploration for resources in the future. We just, like, we're not bullish enough, guys. We're not bullish enough, even though what's happening here. Are we dead? Let me take a look. I know we were dead before we started the show. Okay, we're at the dance at 88K again. All right. I'll take it. It's not a full BART yet, It's not a full BART yet, but it's getting close. It is definitely getting close. The yield is the tulips we picked along the way. I think it's funny though that we keep getting compared. I think it's funny that we keep getting compared to the tulip bubble. Because I mean, obviously, it's completely different. Like tulips do not have the same qualities as Bitcoin, right? Obviously, like, and specifically, it wasn't even tulips. So that's the other thing about the whole tulip bubble, is that it wasn't tulips, it was bulbs. It was the bulbs. It wasn't even the flowers. Oh god. Oh, there we go. Sweet. We've got nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate this. I can personally vouch for the Bitcoin miners heating greenhouses in the Netherlands. Yeah, it's just because it was a tulip farm. So I'm like, are they serious? Like, I just feel like sometimes you just feel like you're getting effed with, right? Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. I hope that you have a great weekend. Just a reminder, Monday, we're back with the round table. There's going to be changes. There's going to be changes to it. And this is not an announcement of an announcement of an announcement. I'm just telling you, we're changing it up. Okay. So Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, it's going to be Sir Ulrich, Humble Bitcoiner, myself. We're going to be talking about all the drama, as always, all the fun stuff that's going on in the space over the last month. And of course, I will be back Monday, 12:10 p.m. Eastern for all the news. Have a great weekend. Don't get psyched out. Don't fall for the FUD. It's going to be okay, guys. It's going to be okay. Stay solvent, stack sats, and just don't psych yourself out. Take it easy.